Mi-Soul, Southport 50. We're very lucky to have here Michael League, founder of Snarky Puppy. Snarky Puppy have become a bit of a phenomenon in the last few years. It's difficult to describe exactly what you are, so maybe you can help us.
Well, it's a large group of guys. It's like 30 guys. We only travel with about 9 to 11 at a time, but basically we just take kind of our favorite things from a bunch of different genres of music and put it together. But the basis of it is kind of like jazz, groove, and world music. It's kind of the core of what we do. But we just made our 9th album, so we have like a bunch of different music and a bunch of different styles, and kind of blend it together.
And you use lots of different musicians. It's not always the same people, is it?
No, it's in a way it's a collective. We have about 3 or 4 guys on each instrument that know all the music, and then because we tour like 11 months a year, everybody gets a few months off, and while they're on vacation, we pull in other guys. But I'm the only one that plays every gig.
And where did it all come from? Where did the idea come from?
It's actually just a college band, and I mean, I started it when I was 19 at the University of North Texas, which is a really great jazz college, and I got 9 buddies together, and we started playing gigs in little bars, and then we made a record, and we did a tour, and now it's like 10 years later, and we've played on every continent except Antarctica, and we have, like I said, 9 records. We won a Grammy earlier this year, so I mean, you know, it's just been a kind of a snowball thing for the last decade.
Because although you started 10 years ago, it's really the last 2 or 3 years you've really exploded, haven't you?
Yeah, nobody,
Grammy, obviously. And
yeah, nobody knew who the hell we were until like last year.
Yeah.
And even then, not really. You know, I mean, I think we're still very, very underground. Even, I mean, the Grammy did a lot for us in terms of exposure, but I think still, because we're an instrumental band, we're still very under the surface, which is fine.
What would you say was a sort of tipping point for you before, I mean, prior to the Grammy and stuff? But
well, you know, I don't think there was a real. I mean, I think it was a natural tipping point. It wasn't. There wasn't an event.
It was an organic thing.
It was a very organic thing. We started making live DVDs instead of studio albums. That was the thing that kind of spread the word about the band. Because then instantly, you know, through YouTube, you're able to reach this giant international audience, and they really feel like they know you because they're seeing you play. You know, we don't make like cinematic music videos. We just make live capture videos of us recording live in the studio, but with an audience. So I think, you know, there's a kind of an element of, like you said, organicness and naturalness to the band that's appealing to musicians and music lovers.
And it's very much a different experience live versus the CDs and the releases. It's something you have to experience live, isn't it?
It's very different. We tend to play, you know, keep it a little closer to the chest when we record an album. You know, we're trying to capture the composition and you know, still have fun and still be spontaneous, but it's a little more reined in. And then when we play live, we're constantly embellishing and taking things into weird places. And, you know, I mean, that's the cool thing about playing so many gigs. We did 184 last year. Wow. 184 gigs last year. So when you play songs that many times, you really get bored. You know, so we have to figure out things to do to stay interested, and the band's very good at that.
And a lot of the gigs you're doing, are they festivals and stuff, or
it's a mixture? Okay. Yeah, it's a mixture. We do a lot of festivals during festival season, and when it's not festival season, we play clubs. So we do, a lot of. We'll do it. I mean, we've done everything from like basement parties to outdoor things to playing in old churches. You know, we do everything.
And recently, with one of your recent albums, you started moving into sort of vocal stuff as well. You worked with Layla Hathaway, obviously, and other vocalists as well. So how did that all come about?
Well, that was kind of like a special project, the Family Dinner album. We call it Family Dinner Volume 1. It was born out of a music series that I have in New York where the band acts as a house band behind different singers. Like every Friday night, we'd have 3 singers show up, not rehearse, but we'd learn their music and then we'd perform it with them on Fridays. And it was such a success that I wanted to make an album out of it. So we invited 8 of our favorite singers. We did 1 track each with them and then did that as like a special project album. And kind of ironically, that's the one that got us the most attention, even though it's
been very well received, doesn't it?
Right, but it's the least similar to what we do naturally, but it's fine because that's a big part of who we are as a versatile backing band. So
is that something you'll continue with, doing more of that as well, or?
Yeah, well, I call it Volume 1 for a reason. You know, we plan on making many more, but we just made an album 2 weeks ago with the Metropole Orchestra, so a symphony orchestra. It's 64 people playing together and a live DVD, which will come out in September. So, you know, we're constantly like trying to do different things to challenge ourselves and to stay non-complacent.
Is that the first time you've done something of that scale?
Yeah, it was big. Very,
I mean, you're
very
pretty
big.
big anyway with having 30 musicians in a pool,
Yeah.
but 64 is...
64 is another game. And actually, you know, a very talented UK conductor, Jules Buckley, from the Heritage Orchestra, is the guy who conducts the Metropole. So he and I got on really great, and that project was a lot of fun. And hopefully next year we'll be touring with them.
Oh, wow.
Which would be amazing.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be incredible.
Yeah.
So what is the future? Where do you want to take it? I mean, you said you want to constantly innovate and keep it fresh. So any particular ideas on where you want to go and what you want to do?
You know, I mean, for us, it's like we're obsessed with music. You know, I mean, if we got into this for money or fame, we wouldn't be playing instrumental, groove, jazz stuff. You know, so I think at the heart of the band, it's just we just want to be challenged. You know, we want to grow as musicians and as people, and it's my job to kind of give the band opportunities to do that. So right now we're actually talking about doing a record with Bobby McFerrin.
Oh, wait,
He's one of my favorite vocalists around.
Yeah.
So he was asking us about doing like a concerto with a symphony orchestra and us and him, and so I'm going to be working on that this year. You know, basically anything that can put us in a situation where we're growing as a band, we're challenging ourselves, we're not just sticking with the same formula. You know, that's very important to the guys. So that's our primary focus.
Well, it's certainly fantastic that you're doing something completely different and innovative. So
trying.
keep doing it and keep pushing it. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Coming to Mi-Soul. Fantastic set at Southport 50. Big event. So yeah, thank you. Lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you
Cheers.
too. Thank you.